Love can overcome anything, or so I said. I died once because I tried to stop my best friend from marrying her own relative. When I opened my eyes again, it was the night before her wedding, and this time, I smiled and told her to go ahead. Alice grabbed my arm, her fingers cold and tight. Her face was pale, beautiful, and full of doubt. Nia, be honest with me. Do you really think Mark and I should get married? We've been together for years. If it's really because we're related. I just don't know if I can let him go. Her voice trembled, but I saw it clearly now. She wasn't looking for advice. She was looking for permission. Mark's mother was Alice's long-lost cousin. That was the truth. In my last life, I had begged Alice not to marry him. I showed her laws, medical research, real cases. I told her it was illegal and dangerous, that children born from close relatives had a much higher risk of severe birth defects. I stayed up all night printing documents for her. She tore them up and screamed at me. She said I was jealous. She said I was cursing her future. I remembered everything. The wedding. The pregnancy. The baby born with terrible deformities. The way her mother-in-law's face changed in an instant. The insults. The abandonment. Alice cutting off her own parents for Mark, then being thrown away by his family like trash. I remembered taking her into my home, caring for her day and night when she had nowhere else to go. I remembered how she cried in my arms and promised she would leave him. And I remembered how it ended. She invited me to her house, said she wanted to thank me. Her husband held me down while she watched. I screamed her name, begged her to help me. She only stared at me with hatred and said I owed her a healthy son. I died on that floor. So now, standing in the same room, hearing the same question, I felt nothing but calm. Love can overcome any obstacle, I said gently. If you want to marry him, no one should stand in your way. Alice blinked. But what about the children? She didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. She already knew the answer. She just wanted me to say it out loud so one day she could blame me for whatever happened next. I patted her hand like a caring friend. Children are a gift. The risk isn't 100%. Some people get lucky. Her shoulders relaxed, just a little. Don't overthink it, I continued. Go find Mark. He must be worried about you. As if on cue, the doorbell rang. Then it rang again. Loud. Angry. Like someone was trying to break the door down. That's him, I said with a smile. See how much he loves you. He can't even wait. Alice crossed her arms, pretending to be annoyed, but I saw the pride in her eyes. He's so impatient. Of course he was. In my last life, Mark never cared about love. He cared about control. About finding someone willing to give up everything for him. I moved quickly and opened the door before Alice could stop me. Mark stood there, tall and broad, his expression sharp and unfriendly. Where's Alice? He demanded. She's my wife. Stay out of our business. I stepped aside politely. She was just worried about the risks of having children since you're related. I told her she should follow her heart. His expression softened. At least you're not stupid. He walked in and grabbed Alice by the arm, pulling her up from the couch. Stop thinking nonsense. My mom is your cousin, not your sister. That's a perfect match. She'll take good care of you. Alice didn't resist. She looked at him with pure devotion, like his rough grip was proof of love. I know. I just get scared sometimes. Then she glanced at me. Nia worries too much. Mark shot me a warning look. You're not jealous, are you? I smiled. Of course not. I'm sure you'll be very happy. You should get married as soon as possible. He grinned. Alice leaned into his chest. I watched them and thought, enjoy this moment while it lasts. They stayed, acting affectionate, laughing loudly as if they were already celebrating. When I said I was going out to eat, Alice frowned. Why go out? That's unhealthy, she said. Just cook here. You bought beef and fish, didn't you? Mark likes those. Something inside me twisted. In college, she once told me I was like family to her. I believed it because I had no family of my own. I gave her everything I had, and she took it as if it were owed. Nia's cooking isn't great, Alice added with a smile, turning to Mark, but the beef and fish are okay. Mark laughed and kissed her cheek. I don't need to try it. No one compares to you. Alice giggled and said, don't say that, she's my best friend. I looked at them and saw the past replaying itself. In my last life, she smiled just like this while I was being destroyed. I can't cook today, I said calmly. My company has a mandatory dinner. Alice rolled her eyes. Your boss is awful. You should quit and find a job with more free time. I'm planning to, I replied. I walked them to the door. Before leaving, Alice reminded me about their engagement party. I'll be there, I said with a bright smile. I wouldn't miss it for the world. After they left, I sent a message to Alice's parents. I congratulated them on their daughter's engagement and gave them Mark's address. In my last life, I helped her hide everything. This time, I wanted the truth to show up early. That night, I packed my things, quit my job, and moved into a secure apartment where no one could reach me. I kept my old lease active, just in case. Alice tried her usual trick. Silence. When it didn't work, she panicked. Nia, why aren't you replying? Tomorrow is my engagement. Are you really skipping it? I turned off my phone and went to sleep. By morning, my phone was vibrating non-stop. Missed calls. Messages stacked on top of each other, each one more frantic than the last. At first, Alice asked why I wasn't answering. Then she said she was scared and needed me. By the end, she accused me of being unreliable and selfish, saying she had been blind to call me her best friend. In my last life, those words would have crushed me. This time, I felt nothing. I imagined her storming into my old apartment, looking for someone to boss around, someone to cook, clean, and fix everything for her. Finding the place empty must have driven her mad. There was another message, this one from Sarah, our former dorm leader in college. Nia, I hope you've finally woken up. Alice was never good to you. Back then, when Mark was actually chasing you, he sent flowers and cards to your dorm. Alice threw them away and told him you hated him. That's how she ended up with him. I didn't say anything because Mark was trash anyway. I stared at the screen for a long time. So that was it. That was why Alice always looked at me with that strange mix of pride and jealousy when she stood next to Mark. She hadn't just taken my place by accident. She had stolen it on purpose. I laughed until my eyes burned. Not because it was funny, but because I had wasted so many years on someone who never saw me as a friend. I finally called Alice back. She answered instantly and started yelling before I could say a word. Nia. How could you abandon me on the most important day of my life? I forced my voice to shake. I'm sorry. I was sent on a last-minute business trip. I didn't know how to tell you. Then why didn't you answer yesterday? I went to your place. I was on an overnight train, I said softly. No signal. My phone died. I'm calling you from a portable charger now. I'm really sorry. She snorted. Forget it. Just get here. I'm busy. The line went dead. I smiled and headed out. When I arrived near Mark's house, I didn't need to go inside to know something was wrong. A crowd had gathered outside. Neighbors whispered and pointed. Alice stood at the door in a beautiful dress, but she was wearing an apron over it and thick rubber gloves on her hands. Her face was red and swollen from crying. She clutched the doorframe like she was afraid to be dragged away. Her father was there, trying to pull her back. Come home with us, he begged. This is madness. I won't go. Alice screamed. I want to marry Mark. Her father's voice shook with anger. His mother is your cousin. And look at this place. On your engagement day, they have you cooking and cleaning for the entire family. Is this the life you want? Alice turned to Mark, desperate. Mark, say something. Mark stood off to the side, arms crossed. She's already mine, he said impatiently. In our family, women come to the man's home. Don't interfere. That was enough. Alice's father raised his hand and slapped her. The sound was sharp and clear. Are you coming with us or not? He shouted. Alice covered her cheek, tears streaming down her face. You hit me. Mark is a good man. Medicine is advanced now. Even if we're related, it doesn't mean our child will have problems. Her mother broke down crying. Alice, please. This is illegal. And they don't respect you at all. Alice looked at Mark again, pleading. He looked annoyed. You know who I am. Don't act surprised now. That was all she needed. She nodded firmly. I'm staying. Her father's shoulders slumped. Fine, he said quietly. Don't regret it. He pulled her sobbing mother away without looking back. People around us shook their heads. Someone whispered that she had lost her mind. That was when Mark's mother arrived. She wore heavy gold jewelry that clinked as she walked. She ignored the neighbors and hugged Alice tightly. My dear cousin, she said sweetly. I would never hurt you. Once you marry in, I'll make sure you're taken care of. Thank you, Mom, Alice said happily, the word landing like a knife in her parents' backs. Mark's mother patted Alice's head and smiled. Now go finish cooking. Everyone's waiting. Alice immediately went inside. I stood there, stunned. With me, Alice was always demanding and sharp. With this woman, she was obedient and silent. My phone rang. Nia, where are you? Alice whispered urgently. She wants me to cook, but I don't know how. It's my engagement day. I don't want to ruin my dress. Please come help me. I widened my eyes even though she couldn't see me. That's awful. I'll be right there. I hung up and turned my phone off. Instead, I spent an hour drinking milk tea and sitting in an internet cafe. When I finally walked into Mark's house, the family was already seated at the table. Alice rushed around them, serving dishes, sweat soaking through her makeup. Then someone screamed. Alice dropped a glass. Mark. Someone touched me. A male relative laughed it off. Mark shrugged. It just means they think you're pretty. Don't make a fuss. Alice's voice cracked. This is harassment. I've given up everything for you. Mark's mother slammed the table. He's family. What's the problem? You haven't even married in yet, and you're already causing trouble. Alice stood frozen, shaking. Then she saw me. Nia, she cried and rushed over, clinging to me. She sobbed about being bullied, about how unfair everything was. I felt a familiar urge to laugh. In my last life, when this happened to me, she told me to endure it. To be understanding. What happened? I asked gently. Someone touched me, she said, tears falling. I want to call the police, but Mark says I'm overreacting. I nodded slowly. Mark is right. She stared at me. It's just a hand, I continued calmly. Everyone here is family. You're dressed so nicely, of course people will notice. Don't make a scene on your engagement day. Her face drained of color. How can you say that, she whispered. I tilted my head. Why not? Mark shoved her into a chair. Enough. You're embarrassing yourself. I sat down and ate the food she had cooked. It was surprisingly good. She had always said she couldn't cook for me. I left soon after, saying I felt unwell. A few days later, Alice and Mark held a small, miserable wedding at a cheap hotel. She didn't invite me. I went anyway, standing far away, watching as rotten eggs splattered across her white dress. She cried, mascara streaking down her face. For the first time, I slept peacefully. A few months later, Alice called me out of the blue. Her voice was thin and unsteady. Nia, I'm pregnant, she said. The doctor says the baby isn't developing normally. I want to end the pregnancy, but my mother-in-law won't allow it. What should I do? In my last life, I had told her to get the procedure. I even went to the hospital with her. She agreed, then secretly called Mark and his mother. They showed up and accused me of trying to kill their child. That was the day I was beaten and dragged out of the hospital. This time, I spoke slowly. Alice, this is your child. How could you even think about ending it? It's your first one. If you give it up, you may never have another. She fell silent. After a moment, she whispered, but Nia, raising a child like that is a lifetime burden. So she understood perfectly. She always had. She just wanted me to say the cruel words so I could take the blame. If you really want to do it, I said coldly, then go ahead. She sounded relieved. Will you come with me? I'm already at the hospital. Of course, I replied. I hung up and immediately sent a message to Mark. I told him his wife was trying to get rid of his child and leave him. Then I waited. 30 minutes later, I walked toward the hospital room. Alice's screams echoed down the hallway. Mark's mother was dragging her by the arm. Alice tripped and fell hard, her body hitting the floor. Instead of stopping, the older woman grabbed her by the ankles and pulled her across the tiles. Mark, help me, Alice cried. It hurts. Mark stared down at her with disgust. You tried to kill my child. Get up. There's blood, she sobbed. There was a lot of blood. Alice passed out. Nurses rushed in, but Mark and his mother stood to the side, arguing about their grandson, their son, their future. When the doctor finally said the baby couldn't be saved, Mark's mother clicked her tongue. Good, she said. She's useless anyway. If she dies, my son can marry someone better. Someone who isn't family. They walked away without looking back. I watched for a moment, then turned and left. After she recovered, Alice came to me again. She invited me to dinner, acting like nothing had happened, calling me her best friend, telling me she missed me. I recognized the pattern immediately. In my last life, this was how it started. Do you really want me to come? I asked. I miss you, she said softly. Please. All right. I agreed. That night, I brought her parents with me. They looked like they had aged decades in just a few months. When Alice opened the door, she froze. Long sleeves covered her arms even though it was summer. "Alice," her mother cried, reaching for her. "Come home with us. Please." I added gently, "You're so thin. You don't look well at all." Something snapped in Alice's eyes. She shoved her mother so hard she nearly fell. "Get out," Alice screamed. "All of you, get out." She slammed the door. I knew then she wouldn't leave Mark unless everything around her collapsed. So I helped it along. Mark had a gambling problem. He owed more money than he could ever repay. In my last life, they targeted me because I had access to company funds. This time, I made sure the pressure turned inward. Late one night, I went to their building wearing a mask. I spray-painted red letters across their door demanding payment. I scattered loan shark business cards in the hallway and shattered a window. Then I used a speaker to play a recorded message, repeating the same threat over and over. The next day, I heard shouting through their door. Mark accused Alice of hiding money. He kicked her to the ground. Then he grabbed the cards and ran out, convinced he could gamble his way out of debt. I sent messages to every loan shark contact I could find, telling them where Mark was, and that he planned to disappear. Alice tried to find me after that. She went to my old apartment. She went to my old office. I was nowhere. Eventually, she and Mark were caught breaking into a house to steal valuables. They were detained and released a few days later. Mark blamed Alice for everything. He beat her in the street, screaming that she had ruined his life. Soon after, debt collectors kicked Mark and his mother out of their home. They called Alice a curse. A jinx. One afternoon, I saw Alice on the street. She had stuffed a pillow under her clothes to look pregnant. She was trying to lure a young girl toward an alley, pretending she needed help getting home. I stepped in. "Alice," I said, pulling the pillow out. "Didn't you lose the baby?" The girl realized what was happening, slapped Alice, and ran. Alice stared at me with pure hatred. "This is all your fault," she spat. "If you had lent me money, I wouldn't be like this." "You're sick," I said quietly. After that, things spiraled fast. Debt collectors forced Alice into selling herself to pay what Mark owed. One night, something in her finally broke. She lured Mark, his mother, and a client into a room and killed them all. She was found wandering near my old apartment, covered in blood, laughing and crying, saying it wasn't supposed to end this way. Because I had given the police evidence of her movements, she was arrested quickly. She was sentenced to 60 years in prison. I visited Alice once after the trial. A thick sheet of glass separated us. She looked smaller than I remembered, her hair dull, her eyes sunken. But the hatred in them was the same. It burned bright and sharp when she saw me. "You won't win next time," she hissed, slamming her hand against the glass. I understood then that she felt no regret. Not for the people she killed. Not for what she did to me in my last life. She was only angry that she hadn't destroyed me first. "You were always like this," I said softly. "You never lost because of me. You lost because of yourself." She screamed and pounded on the glass until the guards pulled her away. I walked out of the prison and into the sunlight. For the first time in 2 lifetimes, the air felt light. I left the city soon after, changed my number, and cut every remaining tie. I focused on my work. Without anyone draining me or holding me back, I rose quickly. I became someone people respected, someone who made decisions instead of begging for approval. I built a life that was quiet, stable, and entirely my own. Sometimes, I thought about the girl I used to be. The one who believed friendship meant sacrifice, who thought love required endurance, who mistook scraps of kindness for loyalty. She would never make those mistakes again. Alice would spend the rest of her life replaying the moment everything went wrong, blaming the world, blaming fate, blaming me. But I didn't look back. I had already won by choosing myself.